Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for checking out this video quick today. We're going to be about 10-15 minutes long. We're just going to do our 2021 NFL free agency preview. Now, this is a fantasy-focused YouTube channel, so we're just going to look at the offense. I know there's a ton of really good defensive players that are on the market, but we're just going to be looking at the quarterbacks, running back, wide receivers, and the tight end position. So I'm going to hop right into a screen share, and we're going to be looking at Spot Track. I don't know if it's Spot Track or Spot Track, but I like using this a lot for just looking at contract situations. Whether I'm looking up a player, how long they're left on their deal, or just money involved in certain situations. So it's Spot Track, really good website there. And we're starting with the quarterbacks here. And of course, Dak Prescott's the headliner of this one. We know there's like trade rumors with Deshaun Watson, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, things like that. But this is purely free agency. So Dak Prescott is, they franchise tagged him last year. He's easily the top player at the market, Dak Prescott. You got to assume Dallas wants to give him an offer and keep him around. They built that awesome wide receiver group around him. They saw what Andy Dalton did at the helms, and it's just not the same. Dak Prescott was one of the best quarterbacks the first 4 or 5 weeks in that crazy ankle break. I think it was week 5 against the Giants. So Dak Prescott is our headliner here at the quarterback position. We're assuming he stays in Dallas, but man, if if things don't go well, we'll see what happens. But Dak Prescott, easily the headliner. And then you kind of just got some end of the tier backup type quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett, I'm expecting him to maybe get some interest in the market, or otherwise just maybe return to Indianapolis. But now that they got Carson Wentz, he's probably going to find himself a new home. Maybe he goes somewhere where there's a veteran that could potentially need replacement in a year or two. He can just be a bridge quarterback there. Brissett's not like a future starter in the NFL. He's probably like one of the better backups that you can have. But Indianapolis didn't really try to do much with him outside of running the ball, so he was kind of used as a gadget last year. But we'll move on to Mitch Trubisky. Now, this is the big one because we heard the Bears were very interested in Carson Wentz. I'm sure the Bears are linked to some other quarterbacks out there. It wouldn't surprise me to see them, maybe just sign Ryan Fitzpatrick instead and try for a year or two, maybe draft a quarterback this year. I think that's going to be telling. So what the Bears decided to do with Trubisky, that one's going to set off a lot of reactions as far as the draft goes for the Bears. So Mitchell Trubisky, I'm not sure anyone is willing to give Mitchell Trubisky a shot to be their starter. If anyone's going to do it, it's got to be Chicago. And he actually, just looking at his numbers and just watching a little bit of Trubisky, he improved last year based on his 2019 stats and just how he looked. He looked a little bit more comfortable. They had a little bit more weapons for him. He seemed to like Jimmy Graham quite a bit, so it was nice to see him utilize the tight end. But I'm open to Mitchell Trubisky returning to the Bears. Maybe I can't see them signing another long-term deal, but it's very likely that the Bears target a quarterback yet in free agency. I don't know, like Cam Newton, like maybe Jameis Winston. Maybe we're looking at some of those guys down the list. We'll get to those guys in a second, but I don't know. It's 50-50. If maybe they just franchise tag him or bring him back on a 1-year deal, see what happens. But I think it's very likely we see the Bears look elsewhere for a quarterback, whether that's the draft or maybe they sign one of these other guys. And that brings me to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I really, really want to see Ryan Fitzpatrick start somewhere in 2021. He had a fantastic season with Miami, and they just had to go with Tua for a little bit there. But Fitzpatrick had his awesome moments throughout the season, and he's 39 years old. He's relatively cheap for a starting quarterback. I don't know which teams would want to take a chance on him. But especially if a team like the Bears, if they want to let go of Trubisky, bring Fitzpatrick in. I know that's not very nice to do to Fitzpatrick, is to bring him in and then draft another rookie. That's kind of the same situation as last year. And then all that hype builds for the rookie to get on the field if Fitzpatrick's not playing well. But Fitzpatrick, interesting guy. I'm trying to think of any other teams off the top of my head that could use a quarterback. He's probably best served as, the best backup in football, but I do think someone might be open to giving him a shot to be a starter. So Tyrod Taylor, not sure he's going to be. He's just going to get backup money. AJ McCarron, backup money. Andy Dalton, same kind of thing. Now, the team that's really interesting, I guess, that comes to mind is the Denver Broncos, because we heard they're in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. If anything happens to Dak Prescott, I would assume Dak Prescott and the Broncos will have some conversations. Broncos got a lot of good, attractive wide receiver weapons, and they got the new GM, of course, over there. But Fitzpatrick, maybe the Broncos want to take a shot if they try to move Drew Lock. I really don't know. I don't think Drew Lock is the answer there. I think the new front office in Denver knows this, so we'll see what happens. But Andy Dalton, he's probably just going to go be a backup somewhere. He blew his open audition last year, So I think we're probably not going to see Andy Dalton unless there's an injury or relief needed at the backup quarterback spot. Colt McCoy, RG3, Matt Barkley, Nate Sudfeld, nothing really there. Now Cam Newton is interesting. Will Cam Newton, now that I'm thinking of Cam Newton, he just played for the Patriots. What if Ryan Fitzpatrick goes to the Patriots? I could see that. And then he completes his AFC East challenge because he'll have played for the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Patriots. That'd be kind of fun. But Cam Newton left kind of a sour taste in our mouth after last year. I don't know if anyone wants to potentially bring him in for a one-year deal. A team like Chicago, I don't know if Denver wants to play with that. There's a couple teams that do make a little bit of sense. But Cam Newton, I don't think the market's going to be very hot. It's going to be kind of like last year. So maybe there's a chance the Patriots bring him back on a cheap contract. Who knows? But Cam Newton's super interesting to watch. Flacco actually played decently with the Jets last year. They actually had a pretty good offense when he was on the field working with that receiver group. So Flacco, just kind of like Andy Dalton, just a backup guy there. Ryan Griffin, Mike Glennon, Geno Smith, Blaine Gabbert, but Jameis Winston. We get all the way down here to Jameis Winston. Now, I would like to see the Saints bring him back. I think the Saints do have Taysom Hill still. We're assuming Drew Brees is all but retired. You never know. But Jameis Winston to the Saints, they brought him in last year to potentially do this. So I think there's a really good chance that Jameis Winston stays in New Orleans. Otherwise, a team like Denver, a team like Chicago, maybe even the Jets, if the Jets decide to do move. Now, the Jets are probably taking a quarterback very high at number 2. So we'll see what happens with Winston. There's a handful of teams that might be in interest there, but otherwise there's really no other quarterbacks that stick out to me. Kyle Allen was fine; he could be a really nice backup for somebody. But that's pretty much it for the quarterback. So we'll move to some of the more juicier names here at the running back position. And just, I guess, in terms of 2020 average salary, you got Kenyon Drake, Todd Gurley, Mark Ingram, Tevin Coleman, James White. I hear there's a lot of buzz about James White in the market. Matt Breida, Mike Davis. Mike Davis had a tremendous year filling in for Christian McCaffrey. Rex Burkhead, Carlos Hyde. These are kind of older running backs and might just get a one-year deal somewhere. Brian Hill. Leonard Fournette, that's going to be a hot name on the market. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to have enough cap to bring back all their pieces in Tampa Bay there. Tywan Jones, Malcolm Brown, interesting. He's still 28. He can be a banger somewhere. Yeldon, Deion Lewis, Chris Thompson, not interested there. Jerick McKinnon's interesting. He's still got a little bit of juice left, and he showed last year that he's very good in the pass catching game. He's got a really good role there that he could potentially. If he signed with New England, I wouldn't be surprised if they want to swap out him for White. LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, Alfred Morris, Lamar Miller, not interested in any of those guys. Devontae Booker, Ty Montgomery, Tyler Irvin, these guys are all number 2, number 3 running backs here. Le'Veon Bell, he's just going to be a backup somewhere. Looking around down the list. I'm looking for James Conner. Here we get to some of the names that I really like. James Conner, only 26, injury-prone running back. I don't think he's going to get as much money as he thinks he will get on the market, but someone's going to pay him, whether that's Atlanta needs a running back because they're letting Todd Gurley go. So Atlanta, I'm super interested to see if they go after a guy like James Conner, Gus Edwards, I think Jamal Williams for Green Bay is a really good buy. He showed last year when Aaron Jones missed a couple games that he can be an every down back. Really good pass blocker, really good catcher out of the backfield too. And then you get Aaron Jones. So you have the 2 Green Bay guys, Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones might probably be the best running back in this class of free agents. And then you got guys like Chris Carson, Boston Scott, Philip Lindsay, even Darrell Williams has had some really good things. But Chris Carson, we're not expecting Seattle to bring back Chris Carson. So again, teams that really need running backs, teams like the not the Broncos, but the Jets and the Falcons come to mind right away. We'll see what those teams do. There's a handful of teams that need running back, but it's do they want to pay for the running back? So I'm feeling really good about Atlanta probably signing one. I could see New York Jets signing one as well. Maybe the Dolphins, sign one too. They have Myles Gaskin and Salvon Ahmed, but maybe they bring in a bigger name. So Philip Lindsay, we're definitely watching him. It sounds like his time in Denver is ending. Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams. I think one of these guys probably stays in Green Bay to stick with AJ Dillon. And there's mutual interest Jamal, I'm in Milwaukee, so I have a pretty good grasp of the Packers beats. And Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, they both want to stay. It's just a matter of searching that market and seeing what the difference is to go play somewhere else, maybe on a not as good team, or they want to stay with Green Bay and try to get to another NFC Championship game, apparently. So Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Philip Lindsay, Chris Carson, these guys are all undrafted. Not undrafted. Chris Carson and maybe he was round 7. But I know Philip Lindsay was undrafted. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are both day 3 picks. Wayne Gallman had some interesting games last year, filling in for Saquon. Marlon Mack got hurt, of course, the first week or two of the 2020 season. He's only 25. He could probably get some really good money somewhere to be a number 2 guy. So there's a lot of really good running backs, and I still think Gus Edwards. He's probably going to re-sign. You're going to see Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins kind of just take the full workload as they did last year. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Kalen Ballage actually didn't do so bad last year in spot moments with the Chargers. But a lot of interesting names here. I don't really have any beats on who potentially would need a running back, but it's coming down to Atlanta and the Jets. I think those are probably the 2 teams that are willing to pay for a running back. And I'm just trying to search my mind for any other teams. I know Buffalo has, they have invested in Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, but maybe they add another kind of pass catching element. James White's going to get some value. He's only 29 still. Tevin Coleman, these got, pass catching niche guys. I think those guys still have a little bit of a market there. But again, at the top, Kenyon Drake, maybe Kenyon Drake and the Cardinals, they move on. And I mean, they have Chase Edmonds still there. But maybe you see the Cardinals sign a guy, like if they can get a Chris Carson or someone like that, I think that could be a lot of fun. And then Leonard Fournette, I don't know, just a lot of names here to kind of keep an eye on. So I'm just trying to throw out the names and get you guys familiar with who's going to be available. And then we'll move on to the wide receivers real quick, because there's a handful of pretty fun wide receivers on this list. AJ Green is probably the biggest name for veterans. Allen Robinson, T.Y. Hilton, Larry Fitzgerald probably should just hang up the cleats, but who am I to say that? Deshaun Jackson, Sammy Watkins, maybe taking a discount to stay in Kansas City. Marvin Jones, he has said that he wants to play for a contender. I think Marvin Jones has a really good fit for almost any offense that needs a vertical threat. I know he played in school, I think, he didn't play in school with Aaron Rodgers, but they're both Cal guys, so I think they have a good relationship there. So maybe Marvin Jones just bounces in the NFC North. Rashad Perriman still has a really good ceiling, and he's 28. We still really haven't seen the best of him. We saw him pop off with Tampa Bay 2 years ago, but we'll see what the Jets do. Now, Corey Davis, this one might be one of my favorite free agents for the wide receivers. See, he's only 26. I don't think Tennessee's going to spend the money on him. They have A.J. Brown. They also have Jonnu Smith pending. We'll get to that in a second. But Corey Davis, I think the former number 6 overall pick 4 or 5 years ago, and now he gets to kind of choose what he wants to do. So super exciting to see where he goes. I think Corey Davis and Allen Robinson, those are probably the 2 top guys at the market right now. Where's Juju Smith-Schuster? Juju's down here. We'll get to him in a little bit. But again, Allen Robinson and Corey Davis, those are probably my 2 favorites. We'll throw in a couple guys here. I think Keelan Cole, he had some really good moments last year. We'll see if Jacksonville sticks with him, but I think Keelan Cole can be a really good number 2 or number 3 receiver for some team. Kendrick Bourne's been a pretty steady wide receiver for the 49ers. Will Fuller. Now, Will Fuller, of course, he got slapped with the PED suspension last year after having a career season to start the year. And I don't know, Houston's kind of a mess. We'll see what they do. I would assume they want to keep him intact there. They let DeAndre Hopkins walk. Maybe they were trying to make sure they could pay for Will Fuller this season. You got Chris Conley, Demarcus Robinson, Zay Jones, Chris Moore, Antonio Brown. We'll see. I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to be able to afford him or what the deal is going to be there, but we'll see if he can stick with Tom Brady. I'm assuming he would, take a pay cut to stay there. But here's another name for you, Curtis Samuel. I really like the Carolina wide receivers of Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. Now, I think the current head coach and the GM that are there, I don't think they drafted Curtis Samuel. I think that was the old regime. But Curtis Samuel's a really fun player. We know he's a good receiver, and he's also a really, creative running back style wide receiver. So you can get a lot of fun plays with him. I just think of like a guy like Kyle Shanahan being able to get the most out of him. But I wouldn't mind seeing him in Green Bay. That'd be kind of a fun spot there. And then we get to Juju Smith-Schuster. The Pittsburgh Steelers, there's been a lot of weird smoke around this where we're not sure if they're going to re-sign him kind of thing. I think he wants to stay. The Ben Roethlisberger situation, is he going to stay? What's the money going to be like for him? But Juju Smith-Schuster, he's going to be the 3rd big name on the market with Corey Davis and Allen Robinson. And then some guys that are interesting to take a flyer on. I thought Nelson Aguilar, he had a really good season with the Raiders. We'll see if they keep him around. Let me see if there's any other names here. Laquan Treadwell still kicking it around. Chris Godwin. This is, we got Chris Godwin and Kenny Golladay sitting right here. So there's kind of a top 5 of A-Rob, Allen Robinson, Corey Davis, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Godwin, and Kenny Golladay. 5 stud wide receivers. These guys are all probably, second round, maybe first round dynasty picks in some aspects. But Kenny Golladay, Chris Godwin. Again, I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to be able to afford all of their guys that they've had last year on the Super Bowl roster. He'll probably have to take a slight market discount to stay there. Kenny Golladay deserves a really nice contract. He had the injury-plagued year last year. Matt Stafford's gone. I'm assuming he wants the hell out of Detroit. So he's going to be he probably would be the most coveted receiver, I think, just because a lot to like there. He's actually 28 years old. That's a little bit surprising. Did not know that. Chris Godwin's 25. So I think that's kind of the clear top 5 of names to keep an eye on there. Alan Lazard, free agent there. I'm assuming he's going to return to Green Bay. I'm just looking around here for anybody else that kind of sticks out. Byron Pringle, but no, that's pretty much it for wide receiver. So again, like we're really deep at running back and wide receiver. As far as tight ends, we'll be a little bit quicker here. Hunter Henry, Rob Gronkowski, Jared Cook's hitting 34. Tyler Kroft, really good, run blocking tight end for the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Eifert, 31. Jacob Hollister has had some good moments there with Seattle. Of course, he was always in New England for the longest time. Mercedes Lewis, we'll see if he returns to Green Bay. I'm assuming he's either going to retire or stay with Green Bay. I think he likes his spot there. But some guys that I'm kind of keeping an eye on down here. Gerald Everett with the Rams. Matt Stafford's been pretty good with the tight ends. They still have Tyler Higbee there. They also drafted some nice tight ends. So it seems like Gerald Everett could be getting some top tight end money. And if I'm just looking around, like Hunter Henry's probably the best. He's only 27 years old. He'll probably get the best contract. But someone could take a chance on a guy like Gerald Everett, only 27, super athletic, really good catcher. He can also play, in the run game. So I really like keep an eye out there for our guy Gerald Everett. We'll get down the list a little bit. Jordan Reed, Trey Burton. We'll see if he signs with Indianapolis. I know he played in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz. But here's a big name for you, Jonnu Smith. Now, I think it was the GM for the Titans mentioned that Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith, he's not sure if they're going to re-sign them. So there's already kind of mud in the water. So Jonnu Smith, 26 years old, breakout tight end potential. Tennessee just didn't use him enough. They had that inconsistent passing game. It kind of just everything went to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. But when A.J. Brown was dinged up, Jonnu Smith actually performed as like a top 5 tight end. So Jonnu Smith's got the goods. So as far as tight ends go, I think those are my favorites. So it's going to be Jonnu Smith. Where was it? It's going to be Gerald Everett and, of course, Hunter Henry. So a few names here. We'll see if the veterans, Gronk and Cook, return, assuming Gronk will return to Tampa Bay. But I don't know. A lot of fun. I hope you guys liked the video. If you're new to the Fantasy Fellow Show and the Fellow KGB channel, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out some of the links in the description below for some, I got some links for some referral codes for you. And we'll be doing this a little bit more often. Thank you for your time. Have a good rest of your evening, morning, whatever you need. Peace.